Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, the Bee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Our pollen is silver and our nectar is gold, preserving our wealth as honey of old, and like ancient metals, we hold our own. Today we're going to bring Space Miner up on board, or into the hive, I suppose I should say, and see what he has to say, and we'll also maybe offer up some 90% or 80%, some silver throughout the night if anybody's interested. So, Space Miner, welcome in.
What's happening, man?
Not
Thanks
much,
for
not
having me.
much. You bet, you bet. We've got Chew already in here and Triple Eight the Great. Welcome in, Chew and Triple Eight. Good to see you. So, what is new with Mr. Space Miner?
What is new is that Mr. Space Miner is not surprised, but still totally shocked about the amount of support in silver right now. Like,
Oh, yeah, how it continues to step higher.
yeah, and we're starting to see a greater spread, trade spread too. We're starting to get a little bit of that back. But that is a very healthy sign, which means there's a good chance we're in for rocket number two coming up soon. But what we got? We've officially crossed over 50. So
We have officially crossed over 50, which is a big milestone for, I think, a lot of people's books.
agreed.
But I do think that we are just getting started on our venture upward.
Yep. As good as time as ever to have been bought in, and man, it's a great investment if you see it as an investment. Some people don't see it as an investment, but I don't know. I think the language is kind of floppy sometimes.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, it is money. Like, I hear people talking about, oh, when to get in to make the most money and when to get out. And it's like, well, it's not, you might not want to view it as a money making mechanism. It is money itself. It is the best money. It's at least, and then the key is to know, where we're at and what stages of the system. And being that the fiat system is on its way out through inflation, then real money is going to be where you want to be. And it's going to at least preserve your value while inflation drives the prices of your average grocery goods or your goods and services up. Silver should kind of, and gold remain steady while everything, the dollar falls, prices rise, but silver and gold should keep up with that inflation. And in the future soon, it should start outperforming inflation. And there we are coming to a time where real money will actually gain value as opposed to just remaining steady with inflation. It will start to accelerate in value. So yeah, it can be a little confusing to explain what it is and how to look at it. But I think right now we're in that stage where the metals perform the best. The end of a fiat's life cycle, and this just so happens to be the world's global reserve fiat standard. And so, therefore, we're going to have some performance in the metals like probably never before, in my opinion.
I wholeheartedly agree. Um, you know, Nichols in there saying, when it gets to 50, it becomes an investment. And, and really, practically speaking, I mean, the your purchasing power with your silver over your dollar investment right now, um, your purchase power, your winning purchase power right now is in the silver over the USD, of course. And so, had you bought in just 2, 3 years ago, you that definitely qualifies as an investment. You've exceeded your purchasing, you've exceeded your investment value to the point that you've dropped into your purchasing power zone. You're not
Yeah.
just recouping your past recouping losses. You've made it into a profit zone. You've now covered premiums, and now you're into a full-on profit, like a spendable profit. The question is do you want to return to silver? Because if you want to return to silver, then we're going to have to be seeing some higher premiums than we've been seeing. you know and so it's an investment. It's winning right now. It's an investment. If the dollar miraculously recovers overnight, okay, maybe it's not a great investment, but it's still an investment nonetheless. And it is money nonetheless. And so, whichever category you want it to fall into, I think it meets just fine right now, you know?
Yeah, it falls into a unique category right now, which yeah, it is real money, but it's gaining back its status where that has been suppressed and attempted to be confiscated in a sense, and it's just a mental game that has been played somewhat on the people's minds. So as that monetary value comes back in, it could get explosive because like I was explaining in my live stream this morning, uh, it's industrial demand right now is gaining year on year and more used.
Yeah, the markets aren't stopping, are they? The projects aren't stopping.
Industrially, no, it gains more and more functional demand in industry, and now that we're breaking over into the sixth year in a deficit just on industrial, and then we break through the $50 price line, then we're going to start, I think, attracting that monetary demand that has escaped from it. And so
Yeah,
I think
we're still playing catch up, right?
yeah,
I don't
we're
think we
just
get
getting started.
yeah, I don't think we're at a fair value.
No,
Yeah, I
not
don't
even
think
kind
we've
of.
returned to a balanced economy value for our silver right now.
Not
I
even
think
kind
we've
of.
got a long way to go before it should be stable, fair silver value right now. I think our silver value should be much, much higher. Should buy a lot more with your silver right now. But we're just on the way. We're literally on the way. And like you were pointing out, which I think is a really great point to be made, that industries aren't stopping. In fact, they're growing. More people, everybody trying to stimulate their own economies, demand product. People are, when you look to a lot of like stable energy, silver starts coming into play again, and a variety of other metals. But so, like, the solar industry, as an example, is a very, I'd say it's a stable industry right now. Like, if you get into solar panels, chances are you're going to sell them. It might be a little bit competitive, which means there's a lot of silver being absorbed into that market alone. And so when we're having these conversations, I think maybe one distinguishing point we might be careful to make is when we're talking about silver, are we talking about our silver to our US dollar? Are we talking about our local silver effect? Or are we talking about our international silver effect? Because internationally speaking, you know, silver's a bit more critical on the international level than I'd say it's even at our national level right now. Like, we're kind of reaping the rewards of cheap silver right now, I'd say, you know. when you compare it to what some of these other guys are having to pay to buy through these premiums and imports and lot of DAWs. You know, not everybody gets their silver as cheap and accessibly as we do, you know, relative to the dollar. So
Yeah, that's true. And you know, it's we're starting. I think we're on the way to losing that. But right now, yeah, it's the one of the better countries or places to acquire the metal, and we've had a particularly good luck in the U.S. You know, up to this point. So,
I
but
like how you
I
said
think
that one time, alchemizing your dollar. You know, the alchemy of your dollar right now. I really like that capture. I really, really, really think you captured it very well with that. You know, that point of like, look, this is the closest to alchemy, you know, we might ever get.
yep.
You know, turning your dollar into something worth a dang. You know, if there was ever a chance, it's right now, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's like something that you would claim isn't can't be done, but in this case, it's probably some of the best alchemy. And you know, on that thought process of being the best alchemy, you know, the people in the past that talk about, you know, magicians and, you know, spell casting and all of that stuff would be blown away by the power of the banker to create a piece of paper out of thin air that can purchase any commodity anywhere in the world. That is like the most amazing magician trick ever to be performed. You know, you first you get on the global reserve standard, then you close the window to gold, and now you can purchase by printing out of, you know, by ex, you know, sucking the value out of people's existing bank accounts and just be printing these papers out of thin air and buy whatever goods you want from anywhere in the world. That's an amazing power. Like that's a type of magician trick that you would think would be impossible, but yet that's what our government's been doing for the past, you know,
Well, and it seems like the
70, 80
rabbit
years.
in the hat they pull is going to be, you know, probably disconnecting, finalizing the trick by disconnecting completely. You know, severing that chain between, you know, your values and tangible goods. You know, and if you can sever that link, it seems like the spell has been performed. Congratulations, you know, you got them thinking that this is what money is
Yep.
rather than an exchange for goods.
Yep.
It's going to
Yep.
be
That
a tool of mobility, you know, mobility is what I'm saying, you know.
yeah, no, that's an amazing accomplishment, and then being able to buy whatever goods and services from other countries just out of thin air. You know, I mean, that's amazing. Now, you know, that is the game that's coming to an end, though. And also, like I was saying this morning, you know, when we were in the lucky position during the Bretton Woods to allow ourselves to become the world's reserve currency. That was an amazing thing in itself. We happen to just be, you know, the one that received all the gold from the other countries and managed to stay mostly out of the war. Therefore, it didn't affect our pocketbook so bad. And we were actually manufacturing goods for the war, making money off of that. And so we had a good base to go on to be the world's reserve currency. But once we closed the window to the gold standard and we'd already moved our manufacturing out to other places because we can just buy our goods and services now with our magic money machine. You know, that has allowed us to do really well as a country for this past 80 years, 70 years. Um, but that now is coming to an end, and it's leaving us in a very vulnerable position where we don't have that manufacturing base economy to help bolster us up, and our magic money machine is about to become invalid, and that leaves us in a dangerous spot. Mr. Happy Stacker 69, welcome in. Good to see you. 210 stacks, welcome in. So yeah,
when Triple Ace is what happens to U.S. when it loses reserve currency status. We pay what everybody else pays.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have to start paying with goods and services. We're going to have to pay in reality instead of just using our magic money machine.
Yeah, promise to pay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we're just going to have to use something of real value, whereas we've had the privilege of just, oh, you need some more paper, fire up the machine, and we can buy whatever goods we need. But as that winds down and comes to an end, these other BRICS countries that are doing trade now, they're trading real commodities and settling out at the end of their trading period with real gold. And, real things, real goods, real money. None of these accounting tricks will seize your money and you can't use our platform anymore. And we're going to use that money that we stole to attack you. And, you can't perform those types of maneuvers and not show yourself to the rest of the world that you're no longer trustworthy as a global reserve standard, right?
Well, you're right, and I kind of feel like we're talking about like settlements, and if you look at settlements, like you're talking, like, look, these guys are talking or already exchanging values and tangible goods, right? Like you said, okay, and then they finalize the transaction, the difference in the gold, right, or whatever their chosen backing is, right? And it just it's already a tangible asset based economy, right? But we look at this and the whole world's recognizing this issue, and this is why like a lot of these cryptos are aiming at international settlement, saying, hey, look, we'll be a quick access store of value. Maybe it's not for a long time, but you know what? You don't need here, let me say something about crypto real quick. You don't need a crypto to last forever. You just need it to last long enough for that transaction, right? I just need that crypto token to not stop being a crypto token long enough to process my money from here to here. But what any of these people are looking for is a way to communicate, because guess what? The private sector is trying to communicate, to do freaking business, and it's actually these national currencies and banking systems that are slowing these guys down, and it's slow to business. And when you're talking about like big oil as an example, an oil rig, it could cost you $1 million to shut down for a day. $1 million a day that a single rig is shut down is not a stretch of a figure at all. And so when you're talking about instant transaction, instant settlement, hard settlement, all of a sudden fiat just doesn't do it anymore. Fiat takes forever. You don't ever want to store in your fiat. You want to keep your money moving, as they say, right? And it's an important note. Why is it always important to keep your money moving? Because fiat sucks. And so when we're talking about, at the end of the day, we need settlement. even if we do physical transaction for the majority, we still need an agreed upon settlement method. And and silver and gold, although it's not great for transacting on eBay, if you had a tokenized asset, tokenized and tied directly to a gold or silver, don't you think everybody would use that one instead? You know?
Yeah.
And so even if we want to look beyond fiats and beyond all of this, at the end of the day, settlement is going to depend on there being something on the other freaking end. Whether it's the, you know, $30 coin you bought on eBay, or the USD landing in your bank account, like you got to have something, but USD only holds for a minute, and stuff
Yeah.
more expensive every day. So, wow, I don't know. I just like looped around like 15 rabbit trails, I feel like.
Uh, yeah, no, it's gonna be a hard thing for, I think, the average Joe or the citizenry, whatever you would call them, to grasp that our fiat dollar can undergo the same process that Weimar went through. So I think our the average person is going to be pretty resistant to the idea that our fiat currency can hyperinflate away. And it's funny because that's we didn't get taught about money in school like that, where, or at least I don't remember it. Uh, where they talk about every fiat currency throughout history has end up at zero, and you would think that would be one of the most important things to teach kids, you know, and so we're not taught about that. So therefore, I just have a feeling that I don't think most people think that that's even something that could happen nowadays. Like, how could a modern society like the United States, you know, ever allow something like that to happen? I think that's kind of the mindset of most people, is that like we're different or special in some way. We're so advanced and modern that we wouldn't allow for something like that to happen. When once you look on the other side of the curtain, you realize, oh, they're performing this, on they understand what they're doing, and they're doing it at an accelerated rate, and they're taking steps to protect themselves, but they're not telling you about what they're doing.
Yeah, well, they really want that. We've talked about that a time or two. This normal appeal to normalcy fallacy, right? Where they really want you to be convinced. That's part of a stable economy, right? You want to be able to trust, in this whole freaking system that it's still working. So of course they're not going to alert you to the problems, because if you erode the trust, you know, I'm sorry, but people in general, as a general rule of thumb, people are fickle. And if they sense weakness in something, they're going to want to get out while their money's still worth something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like it's the state of our currency is we're being gaslit. I guess there's no way to really dance around that. They're gaslighting us like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
How bad this really is. If you look at China, who's much further ahead in depression, you know,
Hmm.
these people are much further ahead. They've already taken the course that we're getting ready to take. They've
Yeah.
already done it. And look where it's gotten them, where they will pay anything for that metal. Is it available in the store, and do I have the money for it? If it meets those two conditions, they're going to buy it, because And like you pointed out, with the currencies, there are people here on this earth today that have lived through three, four currencies in a matter of decades. You know,
Right? Yeah, that's crazy. Like, yeah, some
we
people
didn't.
understand the reality of it, but America doesn't.
Yeah, and so all we have to do is to look into the future. Like it's like the further we look east, the further into the future we're looking at ourselves. You can almost just see it progressing. I mean, look what they're doing. Oh man, they're just cracking down across the whole world. They're cracking down on this. They don't want you to own anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really been, and I try not to harp on crypto because everybody just thinks, oh, you're just hating. That's and whatever. Like I've always said, you can make a lot of money off crypto, if you want. I don't because I think it's an overall in the big picture, it's a trap to suck us into the electronic system.
Mhm.
But it just keeps bringing me back to the Clouchy statement of you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And I've been thinking about this new digital system and how they're working on us and to get they want us to rent, they want us to just borrow people's car, they want us to all this stuff. And then I was thinking, owning nothing and being happy. And really, when you're on the internet, and you put your value in there and you look at the screen and it appears to be there, but in reality you're not owning anything. You're like, you see what I'm saying? Like, yes, I understand you own a certain number of code and no one else can have. I mean, I understand all that, but at the end of the day, you're owning nothing, you know?
Yeah, we already see it out of a lot of these YouTube entertainers. Like these they're living these quote unquote rich and lavish lifestyles, but that supercar that they're driving is on a lease. And it's like five other people. They're like running a timeshare on that supercar. You know what I'm saying? Everybody lining up waiting for their week, to drive the Maserati, right? So that they can show you on YouTube while they're living in their leased penthouse for $8,000 a month. Every single dollar they make goes into providing for this lifestyle. And the day they stop making a dollar, their lifestyle crashes.
Yeah.
That's the difference between owning nothing and owning everything. Because if my life could, like, God forbid something happens to me, if something happens to my legs, break my legs or something, and I can't work at all, I can't bring in another dollar right now. My life doesn't come crashing down around me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's the cool thing that you learn once you get into real money, right? Is like, oh wow, I can actually stabilize my life and I can own something that's going to appreciate steadily instead of depreciating steadily. Like, wow, that's a game changer.
We had a decision to make. The wife and I, we made a decision, and it was the wife's idea. Like, God bless her.
Welcome in, Silverboy Blues. Good to see
Hey,
you.
what up, Silverboy? And but anyways, the point was is we had cash set aside, to pay these bills because we have it set aside into the future, right? And we're like we're gonna we have cash ready to pay the bill, like on the money, bop bop bop. They don't accept silver, so we'll give them the stupid paper, right? Well, and we're sitting on this hoard of it, and she's like, why don't we use that money to buy some precious metals, and then when the time comes, then we'll just sell those off. She said, maybe not all of it, but let's take like half of it and do it, you know? And so we did. And the fact is that, it's performing better than we were hoping. because we put in enough, we took enough out of our cash load. We had like a certain amount of time this would buy us. This cash load would buy us X amount of time. Well, because this half is accelerating so fast, we're going to get free time. We're going to get to buy ourselves extra time with this. By the time we sell that off, it's, I mean, we're going to gain, extra bills out of this, out of the difference of just letting it sit in cash and letting it sit. And I told her the other day we should have put it all in there.
Yeah. We'll see. And that's, and I want to be careful on this point. I don't want people to take me the wrong way, but here especially if you just look at these past 6 months, even if you have, like everybody says, before you buy a silver coin, make sure you have all your debt paid off. Okay, well, and that's not bad advice. I mean, that's good, but also, like, you got to think about it. If you're in a really bad situation and you're barely making ends meet, and your credit card debt is gonna be there next month because you don't have the money to pay it all off, but you can afford to put your, enough in one. You can get one coin. Your credit card debt, you're going to make your minimum payment, and you're going to take that extra $30 that remains on there and you put it into silver. You get one coin. And you start doing that on a monthly basis. If you did that for, like if you go back a year and you did that for 6 months, and then this past 6 months, silver is like doubled. So you're kicking the tar out of your credit cards, interest there. Like,
Yeah,
you're compounding your
$5 piece.
Say again.
Sorry, I said as far as the credit card is concerned, it's still that $25 piece.
Right. So, like, you're compounding your value faster than the credit card is charging you interest. Now, you want to be really careful with that, but my point to it kind of is, if you're in a really bad situation and you can't, you're barely making ends meet on bills, and you're already paying, your monthly payment in your credit card, and you're not paying it down very fast. Well, I would recommend, buying an ounce of silver on a monthly basis. And, over time, that's going to start to help you fight back against that interest that you're just losing out to constantly right now. So, like, there's this crossover line where actually buying silver at a time like it is right now is actually beneficial, even if you have debt. So
the only reason I was able to buy land at all was because of precious metals. Had I stored it in dollars, I never would have had I mean, the value would have just, as prices have been coming up, I would have just chewed right out of that.
Yeah.
But in the precious metals, it accelerated faster than the price of the bread.
Yep.
Yep. And it was the only reason I was able to gain a larger amount of value.
Yeah.
Larger than I deserved, I'll say.
Yeah, right. Like,
is that true though? If I put my value where it needed to be, it saved my butt. Yeah. I'm a poor dude. I'm not a wealthy guy. Every dollar makes a dang difference.
Yep.
And it was that was able to help me pop out of a couple extra bills. Hey, silver's up real good right now. Let's capture this value and buy something worth something.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it helps your whole psyche once you buy into metals and see the value storing that it can do for you. How not only is it preserving the value that you put into it, but slowly increase or fastly increasing of late, and that can really change your whole outlook on how you're handling your day-to-day money. You can really start seeing, wow, if I just start doing this, and this, it's gonna turn things around for me. And that's what happened to me. I spent all of my money, and I would go to work to get my next paycheck so that I could survive. And once you realize that you can actually put your value into something that is going to start going the other direction, instead of slowly losing value constantly, you're appreciating in value constantly. And that's just a huge mind shift that if you don't know about, you stay in a mindset of, all you understand is debt, and all you understand is I gotta jump on three extra hamster wheels to survive. And once you realize there's this other outlet that can actually, that you, and the other thing is that you have control of it. The thing about putting your money in the stock market in these places is everybody says, well, do you have your printed physical, they have all this information that you don't understand. There's this counterparty risk, and they'll just close down shop when it's needed. Like, that's all scary to me. And it's something that you don't have control over, so you don't feel confident with it. So I just kind of shied away from it mostly. Like, I have a little bit, but you can't put your once you get something physical that you can wrap your mind around, it really changed my whole philosophy on, life, and how you can live it and how you can better yourself, as opposed to just being stuck in the mindset of you just got to do the daily grind and get that next paycheck. It starts changing your mind, so you can start planning kind of a future and everything. Like, it really affected my mindset.
I want to say, I want to respond to that a little bit. Anecdotally, me, it kind of hurt at first. I thought it hurt. I should say that. I thought it was hurting. I was like, oh, this sucks. When I started, I was like, I bought that. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. I could have used that, right? I could have used that in that little moment, right? And then it sat around, and then I got around to the next one. And at first, it was a little bit painful. It didn't come without a sacrifice. Like, I was sacrificing these very small luxuries in my life, but there were the luxuries that were like keeping me holding on, you know, like the little things that make life worth living, right? And then
Right.
I always believe, like, sidebar, right? Sidebar, um, you know, people always budget for a million things, but they never budget for a quality of life, right? And this is what I was writing. I'm trying to keep this quality of life, and I had to sacrifice certain luxuries whenever I started. And as I sacrificed them, and this built, the stack built, well, as the stack was building, so was the value. And next thing I know, I'm selling them off for the things I wanted in the first place, anyways, you know? And I still had initial investment value
Yes.
sink into my savings, if you want to call it, but my bank, you know, and it was banked. And now all of a sudden I have these luxuries back, but I have them back on my terms now. I'm not scraping for the luxury.
Right.
I'm like shaving luxury off.
Exactly. You had what you needed, plus you got a little extra on top of it, which is a whole different reality than you're used to if you haven't experienced something like that.
But it wasn't overnight. It was not overnight, because, like you pointed out very wisely, it's a change in your mindset. It's a change in the way, in your lifestyle and the way you view it. And like I'm an old gambling addict kind of guy. Like, I'm a guy that can accidentally go, oh shit, I blew my whole check at a casino kind of guy. And like, and dude, I don't even think about, like, my buddy's like, Kachino, and I'm like, fuck no, because I'm like, no, dude, that's, five hands at the blackjack table at bare minimum, you know, that's gonna buy you some silver real quick. I'm thinking of everything in the cost of silver now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not in USD, not really in USD. Like even when I think about my work, I'm like, how much silver does that get me?
Yep.
Not like really like what's how much USD? Like yeah, I like sure I need to know the number,
Right.
whatever. But like really, I don't give a fuck because it's leaving USD almost as soon as I get it.
Yep.
It's going into something,
Yes.
whether it's silver, whether it's food on my plate, it's going to something.
Yeah, well, we're already at that point in our mentality where we understand, where we're at in this fiat race. Gatito Oso, welcome in, good to see you. We realize that we're coming towards the end of this fiat game, and therefore we're already playing hot potato with our cash, with our fiat. And soon that could be the case with the rest of society, and it will just slowly snowball in that direction. So it becomes more and more severe as we go.
Right.
But yeah, welcome in, Gatito. So good to see you.
What you got up there for us, buddy?
So yeah, we've got some metal up here. This is very relaxed auction, and I got to go take my Pure Metals movement sign down. There we go. Because so what I'm doing on the channel here is transitioning to a Pure Metals only movement, which is that we're going to sell pure 3/9 fine silver or above, and the same with gold, pure gold, or pure osmium, or pure platinum, or pure platinum. We're going with pure metals here. So if you're going to be buying it from my channel, you're going to be getting a pure play on the metal instead of. Now I want to also make sure and clear though that I'm not against alloying metals. In fact, that's a great topic, and I love even talking with Space Miner about it. I'm learning a lot about metallurgy and alloying, and I think it's amazing. Some of the things that can be performed with alloys is great and amazing. So I'm not against that, but I just want to make it clean and clear and understandable to anybody that's new coming into the metals, the precious metals market. And by keeping things pure, it just makes it a little bit more simple in that, not only do you have to adjust for the price of the difference in metal, whether you have 90% or you have sterling, it's 92.5, or you have Canadian, which is 80%. You have to throw in these off numbers for the amount of metal that you're after, the pure metal. If it's silver, you've got to deduct the percentage out. But then also a lot of shops, when you go into them and you're gonna, like a pawn shop or some We Buy Gold or We Buy Silver shop that pops up, you take your jewelry in there that's 14 karat or whatever, or you take some 90% silver in, or 80%, especially with the off jewelries like the 14 karat or 18 karat, they're going to tell you, okay, well, you've got, what's the weight of the gold chain that you have? And you'll weigh it, and they'll say, okay, well, this says 14 carats, so we're going to take X amount out because we just are going to buy the gold out of it. We don't want the base metal that it's mixed with. So they'll go down to that percentage, but then they'll also dock you for what they're going to have to do to get that into a pure metal form. They're going to have to send that off to a refiner who's going to have to melt that stuff down and separate it out with chemicals. And so they're going to hit you with an additional, value percentage that they want to pay on your jewelry. So a lot of people get really frustrated when they take their, wedding ring in and they try to sell it, or their necklace in that they bought 10 years ago for their wife and you broke up, now you got to sell, and they don't get any of the, or just a tiny portion of the value that they paid for it originally, when it should have way increased in value by now. But they lose it all because that has to be purified to a pure form to make it into some new thing that can be sold. So
Thank you, Nickel, by the way, for throwing those up there.
So often, yeah, thank you for that, Nickel. It's a way of taking that whole confusion out when you tell an old lady this and they start, oh, it's what's the purity on that, and then you got to dock me again for, you're going to send it to a smelter, and how much are you docking me? And so you start getting confused and you get frustrated with the high value that you put into your jewelry, but the low return you're getting, and the confusion of why it's not valuable when you go to get out. So you can eliminate all of those questions by just going with pure metals. And so that's what we're doing here. But tonight I have a little bit of 90% here. We've got a silver Morgan dollar. We've got a pile of them here. We got one MS64 PCGS slab. I've got some Canadian dollars at 80% silver. So I have a seated Liberty here from 1856. Some of these are, collectible. And so if you are looking for an 1856 P, 50-cent piece, and this is the grade that you would be happy with right here, then...
Dude, that is a long time ago now.
Yeah, these are nice. This is a nice seated Liberty. This is an old coin. This is a classic. A lot of people collect this type of coin. And so it's got a good clean date down there on the bottom.
Oh, I love that antiquing look.
Yeah, it's got a nice toning to it. It's got all the detail there. There's a little wear, but all the detail is still there. And so or most of the detail. You got some on the obverse here that is wore down, but the main basic design is there. So there is that. I can tell you what I paid for that. I paid $57 for that. So that was a year or so ago. So you'd be up quite a ways from there, but I'll put it out for the same value, $57 on that, if anybody's interested. And I have some other silver that we'll go throughout the night. I have a Marine Corp 230th anniversary silver dollar, Marine Corps.
Hoorah.
Piece right here that's kind of nice, 90%. It's a proof piece.
So,
showing them heist flag.
Awesome.
With
that's gorgeous.
Yeah, on the reverse, yeah, it's a proof, and we've got United States of America, E pluribus unum, semper fidelis, semper fidelis, $1, P for Philadelphia.
Dude, that is freaking gorgeous. How much is that?
$60, and that's what it says right here on the. I'm not just pulling that out. That was what I paid, again, quite a while ago, so it would be much more valuable probably. But
wow.
That's that. If anybody's interested,
that might not stay available long. I'll let you grab it. I'll stay out of it. But dude, that's
a pretty cool piece.
I just got 3 from Snoopy too, like a mixed variety of the Marine Corps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like she had a bunch of them, and I was like, I gotta claim those. And
Heck
so
yeah.
that might not last long, bro.
Cool. Let me know. And then we've got. I've got a couple 90% Balboas.
Oh, dope! You're kidding me.
And we also have
I feel like you're heckling me, bro. I'm a sucker.
And then we have a 1883 Barber. It's pretty wore down, 25-cent piece, but Barbers are generally pretty worn. But you can still see what's going on there. And then we've got a 1943 in very nice condition.
Wow.
This is a what do you call these? What do you call these? Space
Mercury,
Mine. These are called
Mercury dimes.
Mercury. There it is, Mercury dime. And I think I'll zoom in on this, but I think you could almost get double bands on this. It's a very nice piece. You would get close to double bands, if not double bands.
Silver Boy, I'll be seeing him in person soon, so I can be polite. I can be polite and wait, because if I see it in person, I can snag it up.
So you almost got, I would say you about got double bands right through there, but you might
Oh
be
wow!
a little more, but it's a nice piece. So that's a 1943 Mercury.
Yeah, you can see all the hair. You can see all the sticks.
Quite nice shape. And then we have a half dime. A half
A
dime.
halftime, really?
Let me see what you guys can see here. I can't see. Yeah, so here we have a half dime, and it has the with arrows. So if you look right down below the seating there to the left and right of the date, you see two arrows.
Okay.
And so this is the 1850 half dime with arrows.
Cool.
And yeah, it's in pretty decent shape. Both the arrows are quite easily visible. So this is a pretty nice little.
It reads well on the words. All the
Yeah.
words read well. Everything.
Yeah, it's pretty good really overall. 1853 with arrows, not too shabby. And we got I'll just throw this in with the winner's package. You got a nice red 1946 penny wheat cent.
It's crazy to think that pennies are done. This last year for pennies,
Yeah.
they're done. What do you
And
think?
I got a lot of this stuff from Can's auction. If you guys don't know Can, check him out. He's got a nice channel. This is the nicest Walking Liberty 50-cent piece I have ever owned. This is a 1943 almost uncirculated Walking Liberty 90%. And it is a very nice Walking Liberty. Most Walking Liberties you get are down to nothing. And this has all of the feather detail there still. So this is a very nice $half Walking Liberty. So that's the same as my special right here. We have
Silver Boy corrected me on something. He said Winged Liberty, but everybody says Mercury.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're right. Good job, Silver Boy. He knows his stuff, doesn't he? All right, so this is a Walking Liberty round, and it's, of course, taken from this coin. This is an actual $half coin that the U.S. Mint made back in the day, in 1943 to be exact. But this is, and I have my face over it. But yeah, this is a 1 ounce Walking Liberty round modeled after this coin's design right here. So, and those are available at $52. At any point throughout the night, you can just type in "buy it now special" and get a 1 ounce 3/9 fine round for $52. That's the buy it now special. And yes, that coin is modeled after this Walking Liberty 50-cent piece. So if you would like the Walking Liberty 50-cent piece, let me know. I will throw any of these. I will get a price for you, and we'll look them up on eBay and see what they're going for, and I'll hook you up with the deal. Otherwise, I'm taking these to my local LCS. 1937. It's a cool Buffalo. I like old Buffalo nickels. Maybe Nickel will appreciate this one. 5 cent. Beautiful old Buffalo. Good detail. And last but not least, we have a Barber dime. Got quite a bit of the detail there. Not too worn. Not as worn as most that I see.
I love the relief of those older coins.
I do too. I like the wreath on this as well. And in fact, this wreath around this symbolism is, you can take that all the way back to ancient Greek coins. They'll often have a wreath all the way around the outside of the coin, and then the picture depicted on the inside of the wreath. Kind of like a cool framing, and they carry that design still today.
Well, it was a crown of a sort, wasn't it? You know?
Well, they also had them as crowns, yes, but they also like framed their picture with them as well. So, indeed. Okay, back out here. Let me
Did I
just.
hear you say you're possibly going to take this stuff to an LCS?
Yes,
Okay.
unless I get any good offers here today.
Okay.
That is the plan.
Oh man, I've got some crooks in my area for selling silver. That's like one warning to any new stacker, man, is dude, shop who you're going to sell to far in advance. And I
Yeah.
mean, dude, I heard figures. This is how fucking crooked it's gotten. Like, and it makes me wonder if they're getting anybody actually falling in there. But one guy offered as low as 40% of value. 40% of value, not
That's crazy. Yeah, don't do anything like that. You should be right close to spot. I mean, you can back off just a bit, but I mean, you got to give room for the guy. Okay, this is a good point. I want to bring out my opinion on when you're selling, like, if you're out here and you're selling at an auction, like I do these auctions. I'm selling at a slight premium so that I make a few cents on the sale. Okay, not a lot, but just a slight premium. But that's me doing an auction or selling something because I'm willing to, if I make that little bit of premium, and then I can just go put in a new order and be under that premium a little bit, and I'll restock my silver, and I'll have made a few cents on the sale. But if I get in a bind and I need to sell my silver, it's a different situation. Like, if I take this into the LCS and sell it, I'm selling it to him, and he has to turn around and try to sell that to someone else, and he has to sell it at a price that it's going to sell at. Can't sit on the shelf for too long. So I have to take a little bit of a loss on the sale so that he has room to then mark it up a little bit from where he bought it so that he can make a profit. And so that's just kind of a big point to understand. If you are going to take your stuff to an LCS, or you need fiat currency and you're in a bind, you're going to have to take that premium in reverse on the sale. Just like there's a little bit of premium added on from spot price, when you buy a piece, there's a premium on it. They're gonna basically be that, maybe not quite that harsh, but close to it. When you sell to them, they're gonna have that reverse premium. So, and there's different LCSs that handle that differently. Some coin shops, and this is the case, I have two shops near me. One makes their money on the buyback, and one makes their money on selling it. So, it depends on what you want to do, on which LCS you want to use for that moment, because, some shops make their money on, they'll barely, you go to that store and you're like, wow, spot price is 50 and you're willing to sell that to me at $51. That's a really low premium and you're all happy about it. But then when you go to sell to that shop, they're gonna charge you $2 back of spot. So it's like, whoa, that's where their big premium is. That's where they're gaining their value, is on the buyback. Whereas some LCSs make their money on the sales side and not the buyback side. So, but usually it's one way or the other, and the spread is usually close to the same. It just depends on how you want to run your shop. If you want to make money on the sales side, or you're going to wait and make money on the buyback side. So, and keep that in mind whenever you're doing business.
Yeah, the most fair offer you're going to get in my neighborhood, like the best offer you're going to get, period, in my neighborhood, is going to be one shop. He'll purchase, he'll buy your silver for 10% under, okay, but he'll sell silver all day at spot, and he doesn't care on his purchase or his sell. He doesn't care how collector it is. He doesn't care if it's the most beautiful standing liberty he's ever seen. Or walking liberty he's ever seen. He's going to sell it at spot. So he makes all of his on the purchase. Now, I don't know how he times it, but I know that he sells to his refiner, and his refiner is definitely taking a percentage himself.
Yeah.
So I know that the guy's not making much.
Yeah.
What he's making, he's not making much. But I don't know. Again, I've calculated some of these figures. The longer you can purchase without having to sell, the greater your reciprocal spread. So like, if you can do nothing but purchase for a whole year before you ever start selling, by the time you've cycled around to it, you have X amount of spread. Like, maybe let's just say, for shits and giggles, it went up 10% since, or 5% since last year, right? And so now you have 5% more spread on your metal. But then if you buy 2 years, now you've got 10% spread on that, and then 3 years, and so on. So but the whole point is by the time you get over that cycle, you start selling it off again, and then you just buy it at whatever it costs, and you just keep the cycle going. A fella could be doing really good for himself if he wasn't too greedy, and treated everybody right. He could be doing really good.
Yeah, it is possible, now that things are changing. It might be, it's a really, really tight market. It's hard to, at the right timing you can do okay, but it's also very touchy. That's why so many stores are closing down. But I think things will start to change once the demand changes. That's when your premiums start going up, and that's why I talk about, and like you were talking earlier, form a relationship with the person that you're thinking of selling to or doing business with. You want to keep them in business and happy. Because you're going to need that support when you go to sell or whatnot. Don't be afraid to support your local coin dealer.
Yeah,
Um,
get in there
you
and
know,
pay a premium every now and then. You
yeah,
know,
like we've squeezed. We're so the community is really focused in, and there's some good reasons to do so, but on premiums, and they hit the dealer so hard on the premiums that the margins are so thin now. We're losing a lot of those shops, and right when we're going to need them the most. So
yeah. And we've seen it. These giant bullions that you just really can't compete with. There's really not much difference in price between buying 10 and buying a 10,000. Like you'll get a little bit of difference in price, but silver doesn't. At the end of the day, it's really hard to get right up next to that source to really start making that big money on silver. Most of your money's going to be had in volume, period. And
yeah, it's
the
yeah,
more
it's
you
time
have, the better.
time and volume, and yeah, working your way up the ladder, and there's just such
Yeah, getting them
little,
multipliers going.
little margin nowadays. But okay, so here we are looking at the 1856 P seated Liberty. Just for some examples, mine is a fair bit nicer than that one, I would say. Let me click over here so I can scroll down. That's a half dime. I have one of those as well. I do not see arrows on that one. Seated Liberty $50 on a bid sale. Ooh, here's a nice one. $200. Goodness, that is a very nice one.
Man, is there a reason everybody's still using the old, staple?
I hate the staples. The flips are nice, but the staples are just ridiculous because they scratch your coins so quickly and easily. It happens so often. I don't even understand why people still use them, but yes, they still use it's fast and handy, but it is not worth scratching your other coins up for. I don't understand it. Yeah. And they have the sticky ones nowadays that are just really easy to use. There's somewhat close
Dude, some of these are mauled.
to mine. 159. That's a little heavy for me. I don't think I see. No. Yeah, some of these are. Well, most of them got wore down. They were circulated so much. But it's the arrows that make this one. Or this one isn't the arrowed one, is it? No, that's on my other one.
Time.
That's my half dime. There is no.
Yeah, some of these guys are asking some incredible amounts. Like they're really happy, proud of that coin.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you got to kind of know your coins when you get into this stuff. There's some that have, rare dates with low mintages and, you know, little different details here and there that make them rare and valuable, but I don't know all of that info.
I never really got that detailed in all the numismatics.
Me either. I
Uh,
like the ancient coins. I really like looking into those deeply, but I don't get into the modern coin. Oh, here's one that looks pretty close to mine. Mine's a little bit nicer, but mine's quite a bit nicer condition than that. But
I got some cool historical coins. but I very little ancient. The most ancient I have is the widow's mite that I got from you.
There
That's the
you
most
go. Well, that's
ancient
pretty.
I have. Yeah, that's ancient, dude. That thing's old, you know.
Here's one that's pretty close, I would say, to mine.
Look how dark that one is, huh?
Yeah, but it's pretty close to mine, really. Let's see. Let's take
I
a.
think yours got a little bit brighter luster going to it. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the lighting plays games, right?
Right. Yeah, I think mine might be a bit nicer.
I remember seeing some extra shine or luster on yours. Maybe he just didn't capture it well in the picture, but no, I kind of think it's that dark.
Yeah, no. Let me take my middle screen off of here.
Dude, this is a dangerous one to like no beginner should ever get into like coin investment. Like that's fucking crazy. Here's my
Well,
language.
it's really not. I mean, but you have to be knowledgeable about it, right? Like, and that's another
You
great
better
point.
take your dang time, dude, because you could screw that one up real easy. Be holding that back for a long time.
Right, like you really need to know what you're doing if you're going to start to get into this type of coin collecting. You need to know your mintages, your dates, what mint was rare, was it, you know,
Hey man, if
Philadelphia.
you're just a collector, have at it. But if you're going at this from an investment standpoint, you need to be sharp on your game with this stuff, dude. One little freaking nip can change your whole world.
Yep, yep. So I will
But I
put
love
that.
the silver.
I'm putting that up at the same price I bought it at. I think it's a better price. It's a better coin than this one up here for 70, and I'm putting mine up at 57. So if anybody wants that at 57, they're getting a heck of a deal.
Appreciate it. Ooh, got coffee. Wife brought me coffee, dude. Super stoked.
Awesome. So yeah, this coin here is an example. They're selling it. It's an 1856 as well. It is not a P though, is it? I should find one that's an example of a P, but it is fairly close.
We're one of the last countries to really move silver in our coinage, aren't we? Like we held silver pretty long
Yep,
time.
yep. 64, right?
I mean, most countries had probably given up silver by this point, or never got into silver in the first freaking place. Some countries couldn't afford silver. You know, like I've got coins of like aluminum and tin coins. I don't know what they are, like a lot of magnesium and stuff, and I'm like not. I mean, like all across the world, coins and like they're almost none of them are silver. And then you get into the American, the English, and the Canadian and the Mexican, and we're like the last holders of the silver. I don't know, maybe a few others. Italy maybe might have kept that going for a minute, but they probably would have stopped pre World War II. I bet they were out of it by the 1920s.
I do not know.
I don't either. Does anybody real Google friendly about like last coin print for some of these countries? Canada 1968, US 1970. Wow.
Well, yeah, those are for like
Are,
50-cent pieces, but our main silver coinage was 64.
are you talking like dollar coinage? Are you like going for like specifically
I'm
dollar?
talking like quarters and half dollars and dimes and all that stopped in 64.
Well, then what's he referring to on the
Well,
1970?
they did some half dollars after that. They did like 40% 50-cent pieces, and they did some odds and ends, but they took
I'll
the
take
main of
that.
it was pulled in 64
All right.
for
Well,
the
I'll still
US. I
give
don't
you
know about other countries.
Mexico, 1979. That had to have been close to 40% by then. And then,
Goodness, what in the world? Here's a 1856p seated Liberty silver dollar for 1400. What in the
wow.
world? What happened to this piece that is so nice? It's in way worse condition than my piece. That is crazy. Wonder what the deal is with that one. I'm gonna look at the differences here. $1. Is it the same as mine?
Thank you, Nickel, by the way. I love the supporting information.
Oh, this is a full dollar, not a half dollar. But my,
Oh, it's the full on.
whew, that baby's pricey.
Oh, Mr. B, you won an auction not too long ago. What's the word on that?
It's. I haven't heard back from it, but it should be coming soon enough here.
You
I
excited?
think they're combining the two orders together, so. But yeah, I'm getting excited for it.
There might be some title transfer coming with it too, like
Yeah, they're
like
attaching
change of ownership.
these new type of stickers, holographic. I don't know what exactly they are, but some new tamper-proof thing that they're attaching and whatnot. Some other stuff, some signatures going on. Here's a half dollar seated with a P for 140. It's in better condition than mine, but not that much better.
These are getting a lot harder to find in good condition.
They are. That's it. That's what makes them valuable. Is they're tough to get in good condition, and this one is not too bad. So it's not a bad one to have.
I've given almost all of mine away over time.
I mean, I bought it because it's pretty good condition really overall. I just didn't know I was going to do the pure metals movement at the time. So
Yeah, it makes sense. That's kind of what happened to my stuff too. I kind of cleaned house in a way. Um, Everything that wasn't, from the community, pretty much. If it wasn't for the community, I probably wouldn't have any mixed metal anymore.
yeah,
Um, I really I don't preach for mixed metals, like unless we're talking about like an alloy, a brand alloy investment or something, But I'm like mixed metals are like, um, I own a few mixed metal coins, but the whole point is like you were saying earlier, like by the time you've calculated the weights, the grams and the percentages and the
yeah, and then you get into like this type of coin where there's that added numismatic value. Then you have to once you get those, you got to put in that figure, which can be very
I
confusing.
guess I'm just a man of simplicity. I mean, it is just so much simpler
Yeah,
to
you really need to
calculate
be a
and track,
collector.
to trade, to handle. I mean,
Yep. Like if you're already a collector and maybe you've filled an album and you're missing the 56, and you want it in a certain condition, then maybe this is your option. But like that's why I'm moving out of that and moving into the pure metals movement is because I want to make it easy for newcomers and straightforward and
I still like a lot of like the ruthenium and rhodium oxides, like I still like a lot of the ruthenium and rhodium work, right? When and you know, although I'm not a huge fan of plating, I don't oppose plating.
I don't. I mean, I'll be
Your
still
metal over
selling
it.
plated stuff. But you're putting a pure metal onto a pure metal, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so yeah, I really am getting to that point. Like look, my vapor deposition is an alloy. It's a surface alloy, but it's an alloy at that point, right? Um, but a it is such a tiny, tiny percentage of the composition that I don't like really count it towards it. It's no different than an oxide. Well, it is an oxide, as a matter of fact. It's actually like my titanium, it's a titanium oxide, kind of just like the black rutheniums, you know? It just so happens that ruthenium can go black if you use enough of it, right? But if you use a certain amount of titanium, you can start hitting color spectrums and stuff. But so like I'm not opposed to it, but like as a primary composition, which is your investment value, your primary composition, um, if you're doing it for weight, you better have a lot of it. I think that'd be really important. That way you're not trying to incorporate all these random figures. You can take a weight value and just do the math off the weight, you know. But like now imagine like your pneumatist is it
Numismatist.
numismatist? Thank you. So now this guy's he's tracking everything from you know 95, 96, 98% to like 90% and 85% and 40%, and he's trying to calculate all these values, you know, and it's in these individual coin pieces, and he's trying to weigh up all his weights, and like, and then you still have to perform the actual transaction. So like, look, if you're gonna do this, like, if a guy wants to go in on 90%, like, I'm not opposed to it. I would like to say stay themed. Maybe suggest to a newer stacker if you want to go with 90%, great. Stay themed,
Yeah.
meaning stay with 90. And then track your 40s, keep your 40s together, keep your 90s together, etc. You know, and be prepared with the math with each one of those. Man, put the calculations right on it if you have to.
Yeah.
But that's why people like and LC, stop me if I'm over speaking for you, but dude, this is why we're aiming at pure metals. It's just what it is. It's worth what it's worth.
Right. Yeah. That's it. Like, and I like numismatics, and especially now that I'm in it. Like, I wasn't when I first got into this, but now after learning enough about it, you really gain a respect for it, and it becomes more interesting. But you have to have that knowledge base, and people who collect this type of a coin, like U.S. coinage, the from like this time period, 1856, half dollars, seated liberties, your mercuries, your barbers. You really have to have a deep knowledge on that stuff you know to get in on it and make money. But so yeah, that's a little, kind of a lifetime of effort. You need to be a collector of those types of coins to really do well in that area.
Once
But
you have your silver, dude, sure, hobby up.
right, right, right. It's kind of it really is a different type of thing. Whereas we're going into the end of our fiat system, so we want to get pure metals into people's hands. Bullion bullion at close to spot price, so that you're preserving most of your power with the least amount of mental energy put into it. This is just an easy route for people to establish a value for themselves without getting ripped off. That's kind of the idea behind it.
Now, dude, I would love to have like a whole freaking bank bag full of those.
Oh yeah, of
Dude, that'd be
course.
dope.
Oh yeah. And I would like those Dansko albums. It would be cool to have each year and each date, and then try to improve the quality of the coin over time, right? Like you got a wore out 1856, and every time you go to the LCS, you can be looking for an 1856 that's a little bit better condition, and you can keep improving your sets over time. And I think that would be fun. But
Now
it's a
that is
whole
where collectors' values matter. And now we're into like real value, like to these
yeah.
guys.
Yep.
But for what you're like offering there, dude, that's like a really fair price.
Oh yeah, I mean you'd be immediately in the money with something like that. I think.
How long till that's it's $100 piece? Probably not long.
Right? Yeah, could already be. I wouldn't know.
Well, and they are trying really hard to bring an end to coinage. I mean, coinage across internationally speaking, even like coinage is like you even see even in the paper, like they don't even want to use like cloth and stuff anymore. They're going into polymers. They're like, well, it's it doesn't destroy, and it's pretty and blah blah blah, but when you're dealing in polymer.
Yeah, it's worth. It's worthless. There's no intrinsic value. It's the same thing as like a stable coin. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's just that they say it has value, therefore it has value. It's a fiat thing, right?
Mhm. Oh wow, man, look at those more.
Yeah, so we've got some Morgans here. Got a little pile of them. This is probably one of the better ones that is not slabbed, but it is just a 1921. You do have a bit. Let me get it back over here and get a little bit of a cartwheel effect going on, but it does look.
Oh yeah.
Not too bad. A lot. It's lost some of its luster though, so.
Man, most of these are real dark by now. I have a real dark one.
And the back is not too bad. The breast feathers are there, so it's not too bad of a coin. But it is a 1921. It's a pretty common date. Let's go see what a 1921 Morgan is going for.
Man, I sure do miss pretty silver coinage. Like, oh, we would be doing so much better as a nation. Could you imagine if this was what every nation was trying to get their hands on?
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is what the power of the American dollar was, you know?
Yep.
Like,
No mint mark on this, so I'm guessing that means Philadelphia, right? Is that the case? So 1921. It's probably like that. No S, no N. Morgan 1921.
let's see.
Last year of issue, the 1921. But I think they made a bunch that year.
He says coinflation is nice to use.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see if this one has a P on the back. See, there's no mark there, and that is the P. That's for Philadelphia, and that's what I thought. The ones without a mint mark are the Philadelphias, because they quit putting a mint mark on their coinage.
What do you think about that though, nickel? The use of nickel in coinage. You think it's what do you guys think about it? Is nickel valuable it for coinage for us? Like, I mean, pure nickels? I mean, nickel's kind of hazardous to handle. So I imagine that's a huge part of the reason we don't go pure nickel.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind. If the nickels were pure, I would stack them. I mean, I wouldn't mind stacking a little bit of nickel. Anything in like you know, Ian is selling some nickel right now, pure 3/9 nickel, 395 actually, pure nickel, which is a
Which
great
means
deal.
it's
I
really
wouldn't
close
mind.
to four.
Hmm?
Which means it's really close to four, you know.
Right. Oh, you guys aren't even looking at this silver that I'm looking at. I'm sorry.
We see your Morgans.
Yeah, I was showing some on eBay for reference. So we have this one at $42. That is like mine, probably roughly close to the same as mine value wise. And then this one up here is at 43 and at 42. So I will say $40.
Man, it seemed like just the other day, $17 a pop,
Yep. Well, yeah, it was. Okay, I'm gonna put man, let's go. Let's do something ridiculous here.
Oh
Let's
no.
do let's do let's do these at $38 a pop. And they're all different graded. Here, let me drop this down.
Yes.
So we're gonna go. This is probably the nicest one that's out of the slab. 1921 Philadelphia. Nice breast feathers there. That's an amazing deal at 38. Here is an 1890. Got full Liberty there. Not really anything for chest feathers. Here we have a 1887. Nasty toning on the back.
It's almost sad to see those for sale.
But full Liberty on the head there. And then we've got another 1921. Not quite as nice as the first one, but it's got the full Liberty. And some breast feathers as well there, so not too shabby. Must be a Philadelphia as well. And last but not least in the pile is the 1887. Got your full Liberty. This is a nice piece for that age.
Oh yeah, the eagle looks good.
Not too bad. Not really defined breast feathers, but they are there.
I like the tone.
So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 37. If anybody wants those 5 coins, I will do them at $37. Let me drop that in.
Oh man, that is.
Did I say 30? I meant to say 38. Is what I think I said. I think it was 37 there, but there's 5 Morgans there that we just walked through at $38 a pop. If anybody is interested.
Oh man, that makes my heart sink a little bit.
Well, it's a good deal, but gives it to somebody out there if anybody wants it. Otherwise, she'll go to the Yes.
That's sad, man. Oh, you got me twitching. No. I'm
So,
going to New Orleans. All my money's going to New Orleans. I can't.
all right, Triple Eight, you got him so far. Triple Eight's got it at 38.
Oh man.
It's a good deal
Yeah, I gotta sell silver to still get out there.
to
So
get out to New Orleans.
yeah, it's okay. That's what the you know what? This is what it's there for, man.
Yep.
It's exactly what it's there for. It's there to it's no different than cash in the bank, except for this one gains value.
Yeah, and that makes you want to get rid of it less because it's steadily accumulating wealth just sitting there. So yeah, it's the last thing you want to get out of, but when
Oh,
you
and
do
these
get out of it,
mortgages,
it's good value. So that's the key. Let's see. Up next, I'm gonna run the. Up next, we'll do the 80% Canadian. Canada.
man, these Morgans and these peace dollars are going to be so iconic. Like the dude that has like a whole like stack of these, dude, that's going to be so cool. I
Right?
never put a stack of them together. I never got around to it. I wished I would have. I wished I would have had a whole stack of these guys sitting around because they're so pretty.
Yeah, I like Morgans, and there's quite a few people that have done that. Who was it the other day? I seen just quit stacking them. The guy that has the little death mask with the long beard, Kansas stack. What a Kansas kid.
Okay.
He just kind of got
Stacking them.
done stacking them.
Yeah, this would have been a great set to put together. Like, I think I'm like with the way prices are moving now, like, it makes it harder for me to make, like, I don't know, dude. There's some guys like I don't look. I don't dismiss there. We have a lot of very intelligent stackers in this community that have been doing this for a long time. Now, I don't want to claim normalcy bias by any means. We're in a different kind of a world now. But there are still guys out there that are swearing by the 90%. They're just like, it's where it's at, the Morgan.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't argue that for a minute. Like, especially right now where um, premiums are like down to nothing on 90%. And you go back a year ago and they were almost 100% premiums on 90%. So like and we're right now is be a great time to buy into 90% because we're walking into a crunch in the physical supply for retail, and that's going to cause the not only is the spice spot price going up, the premium is just going to spike like crazy in 90% back up to probably close to 100% again. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. So I mean, you're gonna appreciate your price appreciation plus that crunch spread and premium that happens when we move, and it
Well, and
moves
we're
the
gaining in
fastest.
historicity too. We're gaining in, the further we get from our own coinage, the more we gain in historicity. So
History. What are you saying? The more we
His-
gain what?
history, the value of history. These are like, dude, these Morgans and peace dollars and what are they called again? Winged liberties.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we are gaining sincere values of historical artifact out of this now. Like, these are becoming, I don't know what's something else that's already expired like this. That a country's moved well past it and it's into history now. Something real old, like a
In coinage or
yeah, in coinage, like a real or something.
yeah,
Or are we
yeah.
still
There you
pumping
go.
those
There's a
out?
good one. I mean, a Royale, right? A Royale is a good one. You got what's the Mexican old coinage?
Oh, you're talking about like um, all of your half pesos and quarter pesos. And,
Well, and before that, there was the uh,
oh, yeah, like the pieces of.
pieces of eight. Yeah, the
Yeah.
pieces of eight is a quite popular one.
But yeah, and they had denominations with. My buddy collects those. He's real good about getting all those lineages. And like there was a couple like cuts of the coin, denominations and kings within those. But yeah, he was real big into the Spanish stuff. He really liked the Spanish stuff, and that's
So that,
focused.
you wanted all five of those, correct? Triple eight.
Are you taking five? Are you taking them all?
I think he's taken them all, but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Let me know if you wanted them all triple eight or what
But
your idea was there.
but again, if listen, if our nation cuts like we're already cutting the penny, what's next? What's the next one in line? The nickel, the dime? We are flooded in dimes.
Thank you very much, Nickel. All five of those buttes are yours. I think you got a great deal. I know you got a great deal right there. So
Yeah,
good
so
job. Good pickup. Appreciate it.
I
Goes to you instead of my LCS. Sorry, go ahead.
dang. No, that's cool. Good pickup, nickel. Dang, man, you got all those. But no, like again, that's what I'm getting at, man. Is like the further we get from our own coinage and valuable coinage, the more this just becomes another article of history, another coin of the past, and 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 we still have access right now to like picking out the good ones. Like those were some nice ones you had in there. Like
Yeah,
I know I've had a lot of the junk ones,
right,
real dark ones, and I was real happy with those.
right, yeah.
I wished I would have put together a pile. I didn't even like 90% until uh, I was at this guy's house and he was showing me his like little war chest, we'll call it that. And anyways, he says, "Oh, you want to see this?" And he pulls out this giant bag of Merc dimes, dude, of the Wing Liberties.
Yeah.
He pulls, dude, like the pillowcase style bank bags, like marked bank bags. Dude,
Yeah.
the pillowcase with the seal tops, man, the folding seal tops,
Yep.
dude. Yeah, he pulled out. I hated 90% until I saw that, dude. And when I saw that, I understood what a huge.
Value it holds.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get it. What's that? That's Purdy. Is that?
That's the Canadian, old Canadian dollar with,
Oh, that's what the young queen.
yeah, it's the young Lizzie.
That is the most gorgeous capture.
1958 to 1967 Canadian silver dollar BU. It's still in its lollipop packaging here, so
And you said that's 80%?
it is 80%. Yep, it even says it right up there. It just kind of wore off. 0.800. 80%. We will, and it's still in its lollipop bag and AppMex purchase.
Ah, as an American, a patriotic American, I talk so much smack about the Queen. I never thought I would miss her so much, and until old Chucky popped up on the screen, and dude, now I'm just like, oh, God bless the Queen, I miss you. You were so pretty on that coin.
That's funny. I like this Canadian silver dollar with them canoeing down the river there.
Yeah, that's
My dad took me on a canoe ride down the Canadian Peace River. So it was one of my first experiences in Canada was on a canoe floating down the Peace River. So I thought that was kind of cool.
it really is iconic as it gets for Canada, isn't it?
right? And the totem design. Okay, here's a Lizzie in a not as nice condition for 35.
No, she's dark right there. She got a tan.
Here's one in MS63. Actually, is kind of still scratched up, but got an MS63 at 82. 25, it's all scratched up.
Yeah, she's pretty banged up there.
Whoa, 341. I don't know what's going on there.
She's getting closer right there.
39, yeah, she's still a little more beat up than we got, but 45. Ooh, is that a... No, that's not a lollipop.
Not even shy about that one. What?
I bet if I put in lollipop packaging, we'll get some close to the same. There's... No, that's not a lollipop. Let me put in some lollipop and see what happens here. 44 for one that's way worse than mine.
67 was last year of Canadian silver dollar. Halves, quarters, and dimes were 50-50 silver in 1968. Now, see, I could roll, you know what? Funny enough, I think I could do a mixed metal at 50-50. Like as a large stack monetary metal. That could be a really good alloy, a 50-50. You know, that could be a good safeguard for value tracking and preservation of a coin.
Yeah.
You'd have to put it in with something real hard. You know, like a silver and nickel alloy really well together. Completely homogeneous alloy.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. No matter the parts you put into it, too. So no matter how much you lean of one side to the other, it's always a perfect alloy. It's kind of a cool thing. And there's a couple metals that do like that too. But so a 50-50 is a really doable alloy. And if you rocked a real good hard one like a nickel, I don't see why you couldn't pull that off. And it really last out.
Here we go. Here's some from Imbar Coins.
Canada's always done so well with their art. I really appreciate Canada's focus on art.
I think I will do that there. $30, 1958 to 1967. Still in the lollipop packaging. Another great deal for anybody out there.
I like our neighbors' mints, dude. Like the Canadians and the Mexicans both have wonderful mints. I'm a huge fan of both. You know. And you know what? A Brit's always been a Brit. You know, that's kind of an interesting thing. You know, there's a couple of them that never did do anything. You know, like a Rand will always be a Rand. You know, like you change the profile once. You know what I mean? Once, maybe twice. I don't know. Did the Rand change more than once?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and is the Rand going to continue? That's something I kind of wonder sometimes. Like when's the last year of the Rand? You know, like that's something we could see. The last year of the Rand.
Right.
It's wild to think because like huge volumes and percentages, but you need, you know, a stable political entity to actually mint it.
All right, we are doing the 80% here. BU lollipop packaging. Young Liz Canadian silver dollar at $30 a pop. Another amazing steal of a deal. And the time is ticking. The sands of time.
She is
continue
so
to
pretty.
flow away, to drain away, to sift away, to the sands of time continue to what? Continue to drain away? How would you say that?
I guess sift
It's got to be a
sift
cool way to
away.
do that. Sands of time,
Flow,
flow away,
sift,
float away, drop away, fall away. Ooh,
fall
fall away.
away.
I like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Sands of time continue to fall away. There you go.
Yeah, I like that. That seems appropriate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about what we've got upcoming. What do we have that's upcoming here that we're a little excited about?
Woo! New Orleans Investment Conference 2025. Dude,
Here we come.
second year in a row for us.
Booyah.
That's awesome, man. Last year, I think, went great. We were well received. Uh, and this year, we're coming with this is our first year that we're coming real. No, last year we came real strong also, but this year we're coming in hot. We've got a lot of American products, Osmium products that we're showing up with this year.
Yep.
So, showing a little bit of American might in there. We'll be able to show a development and a progress, and I think that's really important. And dude, I'm stoked. How you feeling?
Same. Stoked. Ready and excited about it.
And we've
Yeah,
got
I mean, the New Orleans Investment Conference is like the biggest ongoing metals conference, longest lasting, longest running in America. Biggest, probably one of the bigger ones anyway. Probably one of the bigger, longest lasting for sure. So you're going to have a lot of big names there. I know Mike Maloney has been advertising that he's going to be there. Of course, you got all your big staples. You got David Morgan and Rick Rule, and who all else is going to be there? You got Revel Capital guy is going to be there.
Yep. We've got Steve Burton from In It to Win It. Steve
There
Martin.
you go. Last time JP Cortez was there, I'm hoping he's going to be there again.
Yeah, that's JP is such a smart, friendly, polite, down to earth, professional, intelligent dude. I was so impressed with him.
Yeah, he's every time I hear him, I'm impressed. And he's very, very sharp, very on point. Great mind on. I get a little bit intimidated because he's got such a poignant, sharp understanding of what's going on. That it's like, woo, so cool to talk to him and hear from him. And
yeah, if you're missing the mark, he'd be one of the guys to catch that.
yep.
And he does a lot of really up close and personal work with our politicians and our governments, and has been directly involved in the implementation of sound money.
Yeah, and in fact, he, from what I hear, like I knew he was the. Let me see what he called the executive director, but I hear that he was very integral in the foundation of the Sound Money Defense League. Like he made it happen. So like, yeah, he's a mover and shaker, and that's a big deal. They've have some huge accomplishments.
The last time we talked to him personally, we in New Orleans. Well, it's not the last time we spoke with him. but in person, whenever we talked to him in person in New Orleans, he was on his way to go talk to Florida. He was like, I'm going to Florida.
Yeah, but now look what happened, right?
And now look at Florida.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Like,
Right.
talk about fruit of the tree, bro.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, I will not forget that. You know, like the last thing we were talking to him about, and now look at Florida. You know, like we're starting to get some motion out of Florida. You know,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Indeed. Oh, come on, Lane.
I wish New Mexico could hop on, but we are so far, politically speaking, from even like our Congress having like a firm understanding in the principles of money. I'm
Yeah.
worried about New Mexico.
3D Woodworks. Good to see you, bud. Welcome in.
But
Um,
but you know, I think you know, New Mexico does have a lot of intelligent politicians that are making motions to make corrections and blah blah blah. Point is if we're pretty progressive, and so if there's an opportunity, if New Mexico catches on that, like, hey, this is, you know, we got a lot of free states that usually we are in alignment with, like Florida is a state we get along with really well. Well, Florida doing this makes the conversation seem reasonable now, you know?
yeah.
Like they don't care about New Jersey, but when you start talking about Florida, New Mexico's like, huh, we like Florida. We work well together, you know?
Yeah.
So what's got going here?
PCGS MS64. 1888. If you like triple eights, there, Mr. Great. This one is for you.
Oh my word, no way.
1888 MS64.
I bet he's so mad at you right now.
Let's see what we got for examples here.
Is that color I see in it? Am I seeing color in it? Or is it
Oh yeah, it's got some pretty color. I mean, it's got some color.
Oh yeah, there it is. I thought I'd seen
It's up
that.
there, and actually, it's pretty nice on the back too. Got some
Oh yeah, look at that.
pretty color on the back.
Oh, that's pretty.
Beautiful tonnage there.
3D.
So yeah, we got one here at 1898, 95. We want 1888. Yo, why did I not put that in? Piece 1888.
Damn, another old one too, man.
1888 P, which is probably what this one is, unless I have a different. Yeah, I think this is a P as well, because I don't have. There's no mint mark there, so that would be a P for
Look at that
Philadelphia.
color.
So 169 on that one. Let's take a look at its.
Any idea what that would have bought in its minting year? You know,
Right.
like what was that? Was that like a night out on the town, or you know?
On this particular piece, you can see what looks to be bag mark toning right here, where I'm highlighting. That little pattern is generally from them being in the bag, in the canvas bag, pushed up against the canvas bag, and it gets that checkerboard toning from the hemp particles or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Fertilizer hemp, yeah.
So this one's going for 169. Let's see what else we've got. Here's an O for New Orleans. 164. Here's a blue label. This looks very close to mine as far as the label goes. 119, not as nice of a coin, I must say. 110, 146. This is a New Orleans. New Orleans. New Orleans. Here's one P. Let's see what. Oh, that's an AU 58. MS 64, 1888, 110.
Man, all those examples of what it could have bought in that moment, at the year of its minting, and now we look at it and it's seems relative, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Bottle of whiskey, yeah. I can see $40 cracking out $40 for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
120 here, 169. Let's do 105.
Better get you big ass bucket if it's a bucket. I can see it may be a good pick, but a bucket better be a big ass bucket.
$105 on this particular coin. Go.
Yeah, they were metal. They were one of those buckets you could shower in.
Take a little closer look while we're waiting. It's a very pretty coin. Got some cool, very normal toning, right? This doesn't look faked at all.
No.
Still got some nice cartwheel luster going. The cheeks are actually very nice still. Look at that. Not much chatter at all on the cheeks. A little bit in the field, but I bet otherwise you'd get a higher score. Look at those cheeks are pretty clean. Like there's a little on the chin there underneath, but those cheeks aren't too bad at all.
You got a typical bag clatter.
And then very nice chest feathers there.
Wow, look at the color on that backside. Yee!
Yeah, and those breast feathers are pretty well defined there as well for this old 1888, the old 888.
Dude, that toning is gorgeous on that backside. Oh yeah, that's perfect.
All right, well that is ticking down. So yeah, New Orleans Investment Conference that is coming down the road next month.
It's pretty cool to, think about, like, in the years of this investment conference, it's only every so often something like really like new enters the investment realm, right? Every now and then something new enters. Don't get me wrong, but to be there to bring a new precious metal investment, like something that's that you can handle now, like, because you couldn't do that with Osmium before. I'm really excited to be kind of part of this, bringing that awareness, and then explaining how this is a brand new type of investment. It's the first time precious metal's been backed with so much security,
Yep.
I don't know I really just kind of want to represent it for what it is. It's a precious metal. It's a precious metal, and it's just a supreme example of it.
Yep, a very beautiful example, supreme example, mastery of nobility in the metals, density, hardness,
Purity,
abrasion resistance, purity,
yeah,
acid resistance, the most inert
color
metal. I mean, man, oh man. What is it with the uh, what do they call that with the computing where it's uh,
Quantum.
quantum computing? It's got low temperature, no resistance for quantum computing with electrical current.
Superconductor.
Superconductor. There you go. That's what I was looking for at a low temperature. So like, it's perfect for that. Maybe you don't have to get it down to a freezing temperature to be doable. Now you maybe can do it at room temperature.
Right, and that has to do with like the stability of the atom itself. You know, that it creates
Disco
very
ball.
little noise.
Yep.
Yeah, and now with the institute um, the introducing the high tech ready, which is where which is the sponge. Now they're not delivering the sponge unless like you actually have like a practical need for it, in which case, yeah, you can order the sponge you need for your work, right? But um, now they have the high tech ready option available too as a form of investment. So oh no, the
Yeah.
battery is running low. Give me a second. Let me see if I
Oh,
can fix that.
all right. Well, I am about done here. Let's see. What else do I want to offer up here that someone might want?
You should probably your device, but I know I should.
Oh, I was going
Yeah,
to look up
right now.
this Marine Corps 230th anniversary of the Marine Corps, United
Core,
States Mint.
core.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't call it
My
corp.
bad, my bad.
I
But
don't know why I do that, but I do. That's why I am wrong. You are right. You are right.
I shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't have said nothing. Now I feel like an a-hole.
Here is the proof. Marine Semper Fi 1776 to 2000, no, 1775 to 2005.
Whoa, B, why you gotta be putting that up on me?
Proof United States of America e pluribus unum Semper Fidelis P for Philadelphia $1.
That is such a clean release, man.
Touche.
Don't take that to the LCS. You're gonna have to find room for it somewhere, man. I don't know.
Proof silver dollar. I'm gonna say we're gonna even give you a reduced price here, so that I don't have to do that. So I don't have to take it to the LCS. Broke Stacker, welcome in. So we are, yeah, and the other day, Broke, when I was on your auction, I would have bought, but like in this auction here, I'm transitioning to the pure metals movement. I've shut down my little pure metal movement design up in the top right corner for this auction because I am transitioning over to pure metals. So I'm getting rid of any 80%, 90% sterling, silver, stuff like that. So I would have loved to have picked up your pour, but it was not pure metals, and that's what I'm moving over to. So that was why I did not purchase, but I didn't want to say that out loud on your channel, so I was just quiet about it. But anyway,
Off something up there.
what's that?
Is it just showing time or something? What time is it? That's weird. Is Nickel putting numbers in there, or am I just seeing my screen weird?
I don't see Nickel putting any numbers in. I don't know what you're talking about, to be
Oh,
honest.
it must be like some kind of a weird time stamping. My bad. I'm sorry.
888 says Broke might have liked the MS64. I'll show it if he's interested. Let me pull it out. We were just looking at this before the Marine Corps 90% $1 piece proof. We were looking at this 1888 PCGS MS64 Morgan. It's got a nice cartwheel to it, and we have some nice toning on it. Beautiful breast feathers on this one. So a nice design with what I think is some cool toning. So yeah, if you're very clean cheeks, I was noticing just a bit ago. There's a little bit of chatter on the bottom of her chin, but very clean cheeks overall for what a lot of these end up with. So if you were interested in that, let me know. It was 105 is what I put it out for. I think is a steal of a deal. Holler if you're interested. Shucks, gotta go back to work. He's like, no, I'm running out of here. Don't talk me into anything. Well, thanks for popping in, Broke. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. What did I start the Marine for? I don't think I've started it yet, but let's get going on it. I think I'm going to put it in at a reduced price. That's what I was saying. So we're going to do Marine Corps.
You know, I gotta say, I admire how committed you are to this. You know, it's a real nice coin to be releasing.
It is. These are nice. I mean, I bought them because I liked them. It's just that now that I'm moving over, I just want to, I'm always like moving that stuff out of my way. And like, I'm going to just not only simplify it for everybody else, but myself as well. So I rarely sell anything. And so this is something I can sell and clean things up a little bit and move on to a new stage.
Okay. That was a really good pickup, though. I gotta say, man, like, look, even if I wasn't particularly sentimental towards the Marine Corps, I'd still look at that and be like, wow, that's really pretty. I like that style.
Yeah.
You know, a nice mix between proof and relief. You know, they got a lot of contour on that. So
Okay, there we go. $55. As you can see, I paid $60 for it when I got it. So, heck of a deal. Heck of a deal. It's obviously over that at this point.
see, like like I went with the proof too on mine, right? But mine like frosts out compared to like when you get a good 3D relief going, like a really good strong 3D relief, man, it just lusters so much smoother. But
Yeah.
I was still really happy with the whiteout kind of like frosted look.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoyed it, but
I'm a sucker for the reverse proof as opposed to the proof. I've really kind of moved over to the reverse proof as far as if I'm going to get a type of a proof, I'm going to go for the reverse proof.
kind of like the Commanders.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. I get that, dude. You know, those are pretty cool because it really kind of adds some life to the image.
It does.
You
And
know?
I like that frosty background as a background.
No,
And then,
go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was done.
I apologize. I was saying that I debated on going to like a brushed finish or something on mine, and trying to like reverse the proof, and in the modeling it just never looked right for me, so I never did it. But I think if I tried again, I would be interested in going for it, because it's all about how they cut the die, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting. Your visor would be frosty.
Yeah, I think yeah, like just like well, it would be a different image altogether, really. I've been dreaming up this this one for a spaceship that's going to be going into like a portal. It's going to be getting sucked into a portal. In fact, I got the imagery somewhere. But anyways, it's going to be like being drawn into a portal and stretched out. So on one side of the coin, it'll be entering, and on the other side of the coin, it'll be exiting, right? And so if I did it in a reverse proof, like where the 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 proof is the shiny, the spaceship and the portal is
Yeah.
shiny, I think it'll look really good against that frosted background, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of creating like a warped, effect against a neutral background.
Yeah.
Wow, that is in really good condition.
So yeah, that's the reverse of it there, 3D. Semper Fidelis, $1 from P, so Philadelphia. E pluribus unum, United States of America. Then you got Liberty and God We Trust. Marines, 1775 to 2005. Raising the flag. And it comes in this extended box. That for the cover. It is, yes, comes capsulized. $55. Beautiful. We're going to count it down to your 3D. That is a great deal. That's less than I paid for it, so you should be well in the green at this point.
Look at that clarity in that reflection.
And two.
I'm really impressed with that,
Cool.
but I am, a little bit biased. So
That's not right. Come on now.
oh, 3D put a bid on, huh?
Yes, sir.
I missed that part.
He is about to take it home. Thank you very much, 3D Woodworks. We are sold. 3D Woodworks. Beautiful.
I'm so glad that didn't go to the LCS. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful little case here with it. And there's the inside, United States Marines. It is a proof, obviously, right there. Goes into this nice little case here, and we slide it in here. Which
Well, that is a nice case.
$55, 3D Woodworks.
Dude, that really is a nice little set, isn't it?
Not too shabby.
I like the way they got the case out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't allow the Morgans to be melted. Oh, I know that was like I was like turning in my stomach a little bit. Like, should I do something stupid?
I know the feeling.
Well, I'm trying really hard to kind of like focus on my goal right now.
Yeah.
Which is like make it to New Orleans. I just gotta focus on that, and then afterward, I can loosen up again.
Indeed. Speaking of which, hey, Broke Stack, are you still in here? I think he's probably gone, but Broke, if you're in here, say something. Otherwise, I think we're gonna move on. I know I got this cool pour. It's from Silver Oceans, and it too is a sterling silver, so 92.5. It says collab for collaboration, and it's Silver Oceans on this side, 2023. And he collaborated with RORC, whoever that is. And it's a cool 10-ounce bar, and I didn't know, I was bidding on it as pure silver, but then when I received it, I realized it was sterling. So I'm looking to move it on now. But what, we've got 2 space miners in here now. What's going on? Are you there, Space Miner? I got 2 of you in here. What's going on? Oh, now I'm down to 1. I don't think he knows. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. Sorry, my computer died. I had to jump on the phone.
Gotcha. Wait.
Give me 1 second.
Let me pull out my scale. Let's see what the weight is here. Let's go to ounces. Woo, 6.10. 6 ounces, 6.1 ounces. Maybe you guys can't see that. Let me zoom in on that for you. You still can't see it.
All right. Can you still hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, cool. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good. Trying to get people to see this weight, but
I got this shed. I call it a shed. It's like a shed on wheels kind of thing. Anyways, normally I string power to it, but I'm in the process of putting like some solar on it. So pretty soon I'll be on a little solar deal with an inverter, and I'll be able to just plug everything in right here. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, so it's 6.1 ounces of sterling.
Oh, wow.
So, what would that make it in pure silver? Can you do that math for me, Space Miner? Are you good at math?
6.1 ounces, you said?
Yeah, basically 6 ounces.
And it's like 92.5% or something?
Yeah, so if it was 6.2, you'd have basically 5 ounces there, right?
Just do 0.9 times 6 is the so then this is the 5.4, something like that. Wait, hold on.
276.48 is the
Wait,
dollar amount.
Is that what he's giving us? The straight up melt?
I don't know.
What's the weight?
The total weight is 6.1, and it's 92.5 sterling.
Okay, thank you, Nigel.
All right, Nickel's doing the the calculation here. So let's do it at
Well, you literally just times 0.925 times 6 is like literally all you got to do for the weight, and then times that by the price of silver. Yeah, what he's doing. So,
and what's that calculation come out to? Somebody do the math for me. So
I'm afraid I'm going to drop again if I leave this window.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get to my calculator. Let's see. Okay, so let's do.
See, this is why we're talking.
This is why I'm getting on exactly. Yeah, so I'll just make it easy and do 250, which
6.1. So just do 50 to start.
Discount.
So it's like, 300 minus, $3. So 297.
He's saying 278.91.
And then you do the 925. Yeah, that's.
So yeah, 250. So yeah, let's do 260. How does that sound to you? Yeah, let's do 260, and that gives you some in the green out the door because of the depreciation. Nickel, you bid 250 since you bought those others. I'll give it to you at 250. Unless anybody else wants to outbid him, I'll give him a countdown here of a minute. If nobody else wants it, you can have it at 250. So anybody else wants it, put in another bid above 250 quickly.
Dang, Nickel, straight scrapping, yo.
I'm counting it down to Nickel at 250. Oh, now he's at 260.
So what the fuck? Yeah.
3D is in at 260. So anybody else, we're counting it down. We got 3, 2. We got 3D Woodworks coming in at 260 on 1, and I am going to have to actually. 888 did bid 260 before 3D Woodworks, so I should probably still be giving it to 888. So you're gonna have to go to 265 if you want in the game, 3D. So I'm gonna count it down to 888.
And sometimes we might not even be seeing the correct order on this either. You know what I mean? Because like the other day, I put a bid in on something, and on my screen I was before, and then on their screen they were reading it later.
Right. So that's why you see the comments in my screen over here on the. That's why I do my screen, is because that's the actual.
Yeah, because you can screenshot that.
Right, that's what counts, is what's on the screen there. And as you can see, 888 put in 250, then 260, then I started counting down, and then 3D put in his 360. So, but then he comes in at 265 after that. So we are going to 3D Woodworks. I got to retype in unless
Lisa, welcome in.
Lisa Anderson, welcome in. Good to see you. And we are going to count this down to 3D Woodworks at 265 unless 888 comes back. We are going in 265 to 3D Woodworks.
Dude, that's a chunk. Dude, that thing is a chunk.
In 2 to 3D Woodworks at 265. In 1, we are going 265 to 3D Woodworks, and we are SOLD to 3D Woodworks. We are sold the 3D Woodworks with a little bit of honey. Thank you very much, 3D. Greatly appreciated. You got yourself a nice little bar here. I actually quite like it. It is just, I thought I was bidding on pure, and it ended up being 92.5, but it is still a very cool piece. And Silver Oceans has a cool YouTube channel. Go check him out and subscribe to him. If
Yeah,
you
there's a little bit of collector value in that.
tell him the bee sent you. Yeah, what was that? Space Miner?
Oh, I was just saying that. Yeah, because it's one of the community members, a little bit of collector value in that.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. No, he's a big part of the community. Big channel. Thank you very much, 3D. It's a great pickup. I'll get that. Let me fill that up. That was at 265, right?
You make a heck of a belt buckle.
It would, huh? Kind of has that look. 265, 3D Woodworks, and that is on the collab tour.
Well, I'm telling you, it'd be a terrible hat ornament. Unless you want to like nod at everybody as you're walking by.
All right, and then we were on, this is number 45. All right, thank you very much, 3D. Say 3D, maybe with this shipment, I can send over some more silver, and we can work on some more of the pours, the lovely pours that you make me. I need some more of my channel rounds from you, so maybe I'll send some silver along with it for that, if you don't mind. Appreciate your bid, greatly appreciated. Thank you for the runner-up bid to 888 the Great, greatly appreciated as well. Back up here. All right, I think I'm pretty much wrapping up here. What else would I like to throw in the mix before we get out of here? What would you all like to see before I call it a night? Let's see here. What can I throw up there? Did I show you guys my very first piece? This was the first coin I ever bought as a 10-year-old kid. It is 100 years, my birthday, year-wise, 1880. So that's why I'm guessing I bought it. As a 10-year-old kid, I had no idea what I was doing, but I bought one because it was there, and my grandparents were with me, I think, got it for me, but I remember picking it. And
That's a big coin.
I think we probably picked it because of the date. It's basically 100 years off year-wise for me. So that was my very first coin I ever bought. And then it was probably like 20 plus years later before I bought my next one. But anyway, there's that. Okay, so if anyone would like anything out of this next little showing, just holler at me and we will put her up. We'll look up the price on it, eBay, and we'll give you a good price on it. So here is a Barber quarter. Nothing too fancy here. Pretty wore down, but nonetheless, we have a Barber quarter with a pretty clean date on it, 1893. That is the Barber quarter. Holler if that is something you'd be interested in. We also have a 1943 P for Philadelphia. I guess it's officially the Winged Liberty, but also known as a Mercury dime. Also, I think this is a pretty nice piece, and I think you are very close to having double bands there. So let me zoom in just a little bit to give you a good look at that. I think the double bands are like very close to being double bands there. There is not much wear. So it might not just make it there in the center, but oof, it's close to being double bands. So a nice Mercury, Philadelphia. If you are interested, come on, zoomage.
That one was a pretty example, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. Pretty example. Come on, zoom. There we go. Nice piece, nice example. 1943p. Up next, we have a 1853 Philadelphia with arrows half dime.
I forgot about that one.
Here is a half dime. It has those two arrows to the left and right of the date, 1853. Plenty of imagery there, not very worn down. You got very clean, clear arrows. 1853 stands out quite easily, and good, strong design on the back as well. Half dime, very cool piece.
He's asking starting bid.
On which piece? Let me know which piece, and we'll pull it out and look up starting bid when I finish going through these here. We also have, this is a 90% Balboa.
Oh, the Balboa.
This one is a 1953. Got a little bit of toning, but very nice relief, very nice design, low wear. You can see over there on the left middle, it says lay 0.90 for 90%. So there is that. And then up next, this was the nicest Walking Liberty example that I've ever had personally owned. This is a 1943 AU, almost uncirculated, Walking Lib, 90%, half dollar. Very nice example. And it has all of the feathers. Look at those feathers. Not really anywhere there. Like, that is, as it says, almost uncirculated, if not uncirculated. I mean, there's no wear there on those feathers. That is a very nice piece. So if anyone would like a beautiful example of a 1943 Walking Liberty, there's that. And last but not least, we have our Barber Dime, 1908. Barber Dime. Ooh, look at that color popping up there. A little bit of yellow and orange. That's cool. Barber Dime, 1908. Got good definition. One dime. The old design. All right. Who wanted what out of that? Anybody want anything out of that? What would you start bid? Well, you could always both the same time. Good for a ring. Mercury Dime. AU looks BU. Indeed, I agree. It does look BU. Nice coins. Would like that one. Okay, so you like the Walking Liberty half dollar or the dime? Which would you prefer, the Walking Liberty 888 or the Barber Dime? Dime. Okay, the Barber Dime. Let's look it up. Let's get a good look at the design here. You got some cool toning color for this old dime. You got kind of an orangish, greenish tone going on there. Look at that kind of golden orange color going. That's pretty cool. 1908, and you got a lot of the design. There's, still good definition on the wreath up there. And then on the reverse, you've got a lot of the design as well. A very strong wreath going around the one dime. Nice bow. Very, very nice relief there on that still. All right, let's look up that dime. What year did I say? 1908? 1908. Barber dime. Boom. Share screen. Barber dime.
So the real question is when is nickel going to sell out of everything and go buy an island?
Right. Ooh, wow, look at that one. That one's awesome. That thing's like mint state for $70. 95 for that one is looking mint state. Here's one more right down the line at $15. 74, 40. Mine's nicer than that $40 example. Quite a bit nicer. Mine's nicer than that one at $14. Goodness, that's a mint state at $256. $10, $380, $115.
Wow, that's really ranging.
Huge range. This is fairly close to mine. $5. That must be, I don't know what's going on there. $16. Let's do $15 for you there. Oh, here's one for, let's do 10. Look at this one. Here's a cheap one for, mine's a little bit nicer than that, but let's go with $10 for you, Nickel, since you've been so good tonight. Such a good customer. $10 on the Barber dime.
Yeah.
Barber dime.
Let's see. End of year prediction.
$10. Go.
I could see. I don't know. I kind of wonder if everybody's going to rest around like. I could see an increase in competition. I say end of year ends at 57, but I think we see a high of 65 by the end of the year.
Oh, you want the Mercury dime there? Goodness. Make me do all this work for you, bud. Yeah, no, 1943 is a very nice Mercury. So you don't want the Barber then? $10. Throw it in there. It's not a bad Barber dime. It's a good buy. Let me look up the Mercury. 1943. Mercury. All right. Yeah, so we've got 1726 worst examples. 597 worst example. 1788 fairly close. Let's do.
Hey, B.
Let's do them both for 20. I'll give you both for $20. I'll give you both for $20, 888. Oh no, I gotta do 1943P. Let me make sure the P isn't like extra rare. Extra rare.
Oh shit, we have some competition in the hood.
$13. That one's fairly close to mine. I'm saying BU, but I'm gonna go with $20 to 888 on both. Oh, 3D wants in for $10 on the barber. Okay, you guys are gonna. I'll give you that for 3D. I'll give you the barber for 10. 3D gets the barber for 10.
Let's see, 200 by 28. Like, are you like by the start of 28, or are you saying like within 28? I could see 200 within 28 pretty easily. I could see it just like going nutso, just because it's going nutso, for no other reason. For that alone, I think that's enough to drive it through the roof.
Okay,
Just
good pick up 3D. That is your barber dime for 10. And then we have, and no one wanted the hat, guys. The half dime with the arrows is freaking what you want. That's cool, man. But anyway, we have the wonderfully almost BU 1943 P Philadelphia barber that almost has double band, possibly does have double bands, but I'm not going to say it does, but it is a possibility. And we're doing that for $10. So let me know if you want that, 888. And we are going to wrap it up after that.
3D also says give us the info on the half.
You know what, Nickel? If you buy this for $10, I'm going to throw in the awesome Buffalo nickel because you're the nickel stacker and a greatly appreciated customer. How you like them apples? Have a blessed night, everybody. Stay safe and blessed rain. Yeah, you too. You as well, Lisa Anderson. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate
Bye,
it.
Lisa. Nice seeing you.
Give us the info on the half. Okay, yeah. So the half dime is very cool because it has the arrow. Let me drop this out of the way. So this is the 1853 Philadelphia with arrows half dime. And as you can see there to the right and left of the date is those arrows, arrowheads, I guess you would say. 1853 with arrows, seated Liberty, half dime, and a very nice design and relief on the reverse. Half dime encircled by a wreath. United States of America, easily visible on the outside. Not a bad example here of the 1853 with arrows.
That's so funny. Half dime. Don't you mean nickel? Just kidding.
Right?
Isn't that interesting, though, huh?
Yep, and I will look that up for you as well so you can see some examples on 1853 P half dime.
You at all nervous about New Orleans?
Oh, not too bad. I don't like the trip there. Like getting situated always has me a bit fidgety, but once that's taken care of, I think it'll be good. How about you?
Yeah, sometimes I'll be honest, some of these guys ask some pretty sophisticated questions,
Yeah.
market related questions that quite frankly we just don't deal with, you know, and so it can be difficult to form a proper response to their question, you know, and
Right.
that
Oh,
that
yeah.
has that makes me a little nervous at times. Like, how do I answer you with respect to your question, you know, without just saying your question doesn't apply, you know?
Yeah.
Like one guy asked me, well, what about scaling? And it wasn't a disrespectful thing he was doing. He said, well, what about scaling in this very broad sense? And, you know, and it kind of like froze me in the moment. I'm like, well, what about scaling? you know,
Yeah.
like, how do I compose this answer in a way that he might be looking for? What does he even mean by that? You know, like that could be interpreted in a lot of ways. And so I don't know. The way to like kind of like relieve myself of that pressure is just ask a question. What do you mean by that? You know, how did you come to that conclusion? Do what do you lean on that would make you feel that way? And so just questions. Who, what, when, where, why, how, you know?
Yeah, so looking at this Seated Liberty with the arrows, and I would go with $20 on my example if anybody wants it. Oh, here's a close one. But it has a hole in it, so yeah. No, I would go with mine with $20.
B, I don't know if you have an answer for it or not, but do you have any clue if the Europeans are trying as hard to grab American heritage coins as we're trying to grab European heritage coins? Like when we start getting in the realm of Asia.
Yeah, believe it. I mean, from what I can tell, actually, U.S. coinage is pretty popular around there. So I would say yes to that, although I'm not like an expert.
Do you think the current climate of tariff wars and economy wars, have you seen that really impacting the the market? I mean, as far as numismatic collections go, the numismatic market in general.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, my apologies. Let me rephrase. Um, are you noticing like this current economic climate of like tariffs and trade limitations? Has that been putting a big effect on the numismatic market as far as like ancient or historical
It
coinage goes?
it did for a few minutes, and then it kind of got reversed and has settled down since. So at this point, not much of a difference. Um, but it's still kind of in flux. Like I just had like a month ago, I couldn't order or receive records from like England and now or the UK and now I can. So it's like jumping back and forth a little bit, you know. So I think it's still kind of in flux, but no, it started to shoot up in ancients, but then they reversed that ruling or wording, and now we're back to normal. So
Okay.
okay, so we've got 3D wants the half dime with arrows for $20. You got it. Let me write that down. It's half time.
See, I would think in a climate like that where we see a pinch in the market happen, it would be my assumption that right after a big pinch in the market like that where resources are real low, that the desire probably doesn't fall off too much coming out of that. You know what I mean? So like even though there is a bit of like stabilization and recovery of the market, meaning like, okay, we're seeing the pieces pop up again. Do you think that that higher level of interest or competition in consuming these, do you think that that dropped as well? Or do you think that people are now on a higher tier of desire? Do you think that kind of spooked the market a little bit?
Yeah, no,
The
I think
increase?
yeah, I think so. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. Triple Eight the Great. I never did confirm. Did you want the 1943 Philadelphia Mercury with possible bands? And if you did at $10, I will throw in the beautiful 1937 Buffalo nickel for you. But yeah, let me know if that was if you wanted that dime for $10.
Nickel, I think I've heard that before, dude. You know, he says, isn't it cheaper for Europeans to buy US silver coins than European silver coins? And in a couple of these markets I have seen something like that. Like
I
parts
don't
of the UK.
I don't think so. I know I hear Maneko 64. Okay, thank you, Triple Eight. You got it. Mario saying that he likes to buy coins of the realm. Like, they have their VAT tax over there. And
Uh-huh.
I think they have to pay VAT no matter what. But I think I've heard him say he likes to pick up coins of the realm because they don't get like capital gains and other taxes applied to them except for VAT. But I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Okay, 1943 Merc.
I wonder if that just applies on the kind of like the down low private market. You know, I wonder if that's kind of how they're consuming it. You know, they're just kind of like, hey, you know, I'll pay the extra, like for the shipping.
Right.
You know, it might be a way of sneaking in, kind of
I don't know.
absorbing some of these higher premium pieces. You know, just kind of wiggling them in the private side. You know, a letter here, a package there.
I'm not sure.
I'm not either. But I'd like, I kind of want to dig into that a little bit now. Like, where are you guys getting everything? How's this getting in? You know?
Yeah. All right. I think that wraps us up for the evening. Awesome. Pretty much down to a couple things here. I can offload that, no problem. And we are out of the transitional metals. Cool. I have a friend in South Africa, and I gave him some money to bring back some old silver coins. He said it's not easy to go in and see their products. You have to make a reservation. Interesting, yeah. We have a lot of that here in Denver. Surprisingly, there's not really much for coin shops open on the weekend, and there's only a few shops open during the week. But there are a few places that, like, if you look online, they'll say, we'll meet you at so and set up an appointment and we'll meet you. But the thing about that is, I can't imagine that they have too big of a selection when you meet them, right? I'm guessing they just have like the basics, and you can probably put in a future order. But Stuart, welcome in. Good to see you, friend.
Stuart, good to see you.
You should ask Nick's Coin if she wants the half Lady Liberty. Yeah, okay. Yeah, basically got the Balboa 90%, the beautiful example of the walking Liberty, and the Barber Quarter, which is not such a great example, but Barber Quarters are not that easy to come by, and you can see the date on this one pretty well, 1893. So that's about all I got left, but I think we're going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for your attention on the matter. And yeah, we're going to be headed down to New Orleans, guys, for the 2025 New Orleans Investment Conference.
Yeah, buddy.
That is coming right around the corner. That should be fun. Stay tuned for that. We've got.
I like New Orleans. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, we had a good time down there last time. It was kind of a good time. Hopefully it goes well again. And this time we're sitting in a different position on silver than we were last time. What were we, like, in the 20s or something, probably?
Yeah. No, easy. There was even times I think like there was like 18 dips around that area.
And so now we are in the 50s. Woo!
That is insane. I cannot believe that. It's I'm not surprised it happened. I'm just a little bit shocked about how quick it
can move,
happened.
Right? Boom, right? Yeah. It was like just the other week we were talking at $36. We're like, the floor is probably like 34, and now the floor is probably like 48.
Yeah, that's pretty safe, man. Jeez.
Yeah, let me go see what it says right now on the price. So let me check over here as well.
Nickel's not letting up.
49.86 on APMEX. So we're still hanging right at that 50 level.
Man, 50 seems like a hidden support, doesn't it?
Yeah, we broke down under 4,000 for gold. We're at 3,985, but I think we'll be back up in no time. So
yeah, we're just looking at minor repositions.
Yep, and that's good. You want those little minor pullbacks, and keeps your market strong. So nothing but looking good or looking bad. But for those of us that know the bad is coming, it's reaffirming affirmation that silver is going to do what we thought it was going to do, and gold as well, and all the metals really. So
yeah, it's vindicating, isn't it?
Yep, sadly, even though we don't want it, it is good to see in some ways.
Yeah.
And 888 says he's still waiting for Space Miners Salvo #1, but I just can't imagine how you could ever come across such a thing, being as I'm holding it in my fingertips as is. Light up that osmium a bit there.
There, I want to look at that. Ciao. I wanted to do 4 millimeters so bad on that, but I just thought that they would be price inaccessible so quick,
Yeah. Let me zoom in here.
Jeez, look at that thing. That's gorgeous. Whenever that blue hits it, wah!
Numero uno, Salvo. Osmium is here.
And in that daylight too, it's so apparent, that color,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
The blue hue.
Oh, I love the blue of osmium, and it just shows so well next to silver. It's like silver and osmium were meant to go together, man.
Indeed, they do highlight each other very well. Silver says he has no problem with $100 silver. Well, I think we're going to be seeing it before long. And just because we hit 100 doesn't mean to jump out of it. I think 200 is going to be seen, 250 easy before that'll be where I start to reassess, like, start looking around at that point. But I ain't not even gonna flinch till we're over 100 and getting into the 250 range. I'll start reassessing things.
Yeah, I'm thinking around 250. We're starting to see some value correction.
Exactly.
Around that point.
Yeah, and depending on how much inflation comes into the system at that point, it'll be reassessing time. So.
Yeah.
So indeed, awesome. Well, let's see what else. Do we have anything else before we get off here for the evening?
Oh, let's see. The New Orleans. We'll have to look into that a little bit more and kind of like read into that a little more. So that's good. I'm
I know what I want to do.
Pretty impressed about your commitment. Those were some really nice pieces to let go. And that's that must have been kind of hard.
It was kind of hard, but I am serious about it, and I do want to streamline things for anybody new coming into the market, so that it just makes it easy for them and streamlines everything. Keep the value, and cut and dry, and 1 ounce is 1 ounce, and the spot price, and
I have an observation that there's a lot of people freaking out right now about our financial stability, right? But then you look in the precious metals community, we're not freaking out. We're highly aware, but we're not seeing this knee jerk, this ultra knee jerk like panic mode setting into people, in the precious metals community. There's just such a sense of stability about it that just comes inherent with the ownership of tangible goods. It's really kind of cool to see, because when you get into some of these prepper channels where these guys are like prepping for the bad times, and when they're not talking about silver and gold in their channel, dude, these guys are like freaking out, worried, and they're like saying stupid things like, have a bunch of cash ready. And I'm like, who the hell thinks like that? But it's people that aren't involved in precious metals. And those of us that have been at this for a while tend to have a lot more resolve for the future. We see further into the future, where we have hope lying further in the future than most.
Yeah.
And that's just an observation of mine. It maybe I'm interpreting it different than others, but to me it's like a really important observation to be had right now. And like, there was some really good captures tonight, like purchases tonight, and of like really, they were really good purchases tonight, man. And entering into this era of you're either going to own something or you're not. Cash just isn't going to do it for long.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I enjoyed seeing that tonight. I'm glad a lot of those didn't go to the LCS.
Yeah, I know, it's good to see them go to the local community, indeed, and everybody got good deals on them, and I'm happy about it as well. So So what did I just? I'm missing this up here. So, my
Yeah, to see
minor
our
stocks have
community.
went up by 50%. I need to check my stocks because I moved a fair chunk into half of it. I put in First Majestic, and the other half went into Shifts Gold ETF. So I need to go check my values there. It's been like I bet by now, since I've last looked, I bet they've made a pretty decent move. So
I'm in First Majestic also, and I'm in Critical Metals, and both of those have been doing really good.
cool.
So I'm happy, you know, at least seeing some value preservation, you know.
Yeah, for sure. 888 says my dad worked at GE Union and he made 18,000 in 1980s. Was middle class. There you go.
Yeah, and middle class is what, 100 grand now, 6 digits.
Oh yeah. Oh, easy. Yeah, if not more.
Well, they consider middle class is generally like a government or a union worker is generally your middle class worker. And if you look at like most of your government pays are at the upper end, you know, of below 100, or they've just crossed over 6 digits, you know, and that's what they consider a living wage. You know, now that's not what most of the private market makes, but
Right.
that's what they consider it to be.
Yep. All right. Cool, guys. Well, awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us, Space Miner. Thank you for keeping me company. And yeah, excited to be having New Orleans coming around the corner for us. That should be fun. I'm sure, we'll have to get on here and focus in a little bit more on the subjects at hand there.
For sure.
And I know I've got some other subjects I want to cover, so stay tuned, guys. We'll have more coming soon. And go check out Space Miner. If you all don't know Space Miner, I'm sure everybody in here does. But for anybody listening in the future, go check out Space Miner's YouTube channel and subscribe to him. And with that, we will be back on the next one. And thank you all for hanging out. Greatly appreciate your purchases on the night. And we will catch you all on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Later, y'all.